Okay, I've turned the power on to the left. You can see the red indicator light under the wheelchair symbol saying that there is power to the left. On the later model buses, in the dash, over in the middle, in your information center, when the lift is on, you'll actually see a wheelchair symbol. Okay, we're going to show you how to move the wheelchair seat. There's 4 steps. We'll start out with the first step. Handle on the side. Lift the seat up until it latches. Step 1. Okay, step 2, we're going to go to the latches on the floor, and we're going to release those. You pull this pin out here, pull this lever up. There's one on each leg. You do the same thing on this side. Pull the pin out, lift this lever up. That's step 2. Okay, step 3 is actually moving the seat. A lot of people will try to move the seats from the top of the headrest, and you can see that it's going to fight me. The best way is to push on the bottom of these rails, and then it'll just slide straight forward. Step 4 is to latch the seat in position once you have it pushed up forward. You pull out on the pin again and then just push down on that. Probably one of those is okay to hold it in place. You can do both if you like. The back seat is a little more of a challenge because it's harder to get in behind it. I'll go through the steps. 1, got to release the latches. Step 2, and like I said before, you have to push low on the seat. And you see that it moves pretty easy whenever you're pressing on the bottom side of the seat. Final step is to latch it in position. Okay, we're going to talk about the wheelchair tie-down strap. Typically you want to put the front ones in first before you have a wheelchair in because it's easier to access. It's almost impossible once you have a wheelchair in here to access these latches. Now if you look at this latch, it's got a little spring right here. And it springs this way. Put this latch in there, you've got to bring it in at an angle, close to the floor, and push that spring in, and then just pull it back, and then it's in there. Okay, to remove the strap once you've used it, you push up against the spring and bring this right corner around, and it just comes right out. Nothing to it. Okay, the rear straps attach exactly the same way. You've got your little spring clip here. Push it up against the spring clip, now it's in place. On these straps, you're going to take these hooks and you're going to attach them to the frame of the wheelchair, not the wheel. Okay? Okay, once you have all 4 of your straps secured to the floor and you have the wheelchair in the vehicle, you're going to wrap these hooks around the frame of the wheelchair, not around the wheel. Okay, and to pull the slack out of this front one, you just pull on it until the wheelchair feels pretty tight. Okay, and then you're going to go to the back one. And the back one, this latch right here is in the open position right now. We'll hook this to the body of the wheelchair, not the wheel. We'll pull this tight, and once you get it where it's secure, then you just latch, pushed on that, and it's latched. Okay, when you're ready to release the wheelchair, you want to release it from these back straps first. To do that, you push this red button in and pull up, and then the strap just comes loose. You can pull it loose. That's all there is to it. Okay, for demonstration purposes, we've got this vehicle shut down to show you how the lift works, just so you can hear me better, and this is something that you don't ever want to do. Don't try this at home. Okay, so you open the doors. We've already got the power on to the lift. This door has a latch back here that holds it open. Say you're a little bit on a downhill. This keeps the door from sliding shut when you really don't want it to. Okay. Here's our controller. And And we've got a green light, which means we do have power, which is that's the first indicator you want to look for. We're going to extend the lift. We're just going to use this extend knob, and we'll run it out until it stops by itself. Okay. Okay, at this point, the lift has safeties in it that will not allow it to go up or down. You have to bring your arms out, bring the carrier out, unfold it all the way, and raise the safety barrier. Okay, so now the lift will go up and down. So we're going to lower it. We'll use the twist knob that says lower. Some of them just have a button that says lower. So we're just going to lower it. In the winter time, note that these work pretty slowly when they're lowering because of the thickness of the fluid that's inside of them. So if you're out and it's 20 degrees outside, it's going to operate slower than normal. Okay, at this point you're ready to lower the ramp so you can get your passenger on the bus. You're going to back them in, and then you're going to want to secure them with the seat belt across the wheelchair just to secure them somewhat. Okay, you have your passenger on the ramp and they're secured. You'll have to lift the safety barrier because the lift will not go up with this down. So that's one of the safety interlocks on it. Okay, so we're ready to lift the wheelchair lift into the bus. I'm going to turn this knob to the raise position. Some of them have just a button that say raise. This is where you're at now. You're going to raise them all the way until it gets to the top and stop. Okay, we have the lift at floor level to the bus. Your passenger is lifted, and we're ready to push the wheelchair into the bus. You have to press the barrier button on this controller, and you'll see that the barrier goes down when I do that. Okay, so now you're ready to push the wheelchair into the bus and secure it as we showed you before. Okay, now we're going to show you how to stow the lift. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to raise up the ramp at the end, put it in position. Now you want to raise the lift to where it's higher than, you can see these arms coming up. Okay, see how they're higher than each other now? This one is higher than this one. Now you've got it set up so you can do the stow. So you're just going to hit the stow button, and you're going to hold that until it stops by itself. That's the key. Make sure it stops by itself. Okay, to go ahead and stow it the rest of the way, on this model you hit the stow button and you hit the retract button. And once again, you're going to hold this until it stops moving. Okay, you've stowed the lift properly. We're going to fold it up and move on to our next stop. This is just the reverse of the procedure when you pulled it out. A key thing when you're putting away the controller, there's a hanger on the side here, but what you have to be concerned about is these wires. Because this is a latch right here, and if this wire is laying across this latch, when you slam the door, it's going to tear the wires off, and then the lift's not going to work the next time you want to use it. So we're going to show you how to close the doors. These are a little finicky sometimes. I usually just put my hand on the front and back here on the back and just give it a good push. This door, remember I told you about this latch here, it's going to be a little hard to get off that latch. You pop it loose and then you can just take it, slide it forward. When your flashers are out, the doors are shut. Okay, now we're going to discuss how to manually use this lift in case there's some kind of malfunction and the electrics don't work. You've got these 4 valves here, and you see these lines here, that's pointing to normal. Each one of these is on normal now. So these are the valves that you're going to use to actually make the lift work. So right now we've got the lift in the closed position, You push in on this just a little bit, and then it turns not even a quarter turn, and you can see now it's pointing at override. Okay? So you've got a jack handle. It's usually either hanging here, there's a clip in here somewhere, or there's a pocket in the inside of this door back here, and it'll be laying in there. Now, if you look down in there, you can see this is the jack receptacle that you're going to actually stick this handle into, but if you look at it, you're looking at it like, I don't think I can get that in there. Once you put this button on override, it'll allow you to push this in by hand and get that in a position where you can slide this handle in there and start actually moving it. See, now it's in the receptacle. This is basically just like a hydraulic jack. So to move this out, we're going to start pumping it, and you can see we've got it on extend right now, and we're moving this out. And what you do is you jack this until it's all the way out. Okay? And then you move on to the next, like if you get it all the way out and you want to lower it, then I'm going to show you how to do that in the next scene. Okay, so we've got the lift out and we want to lower it so we can get our passenger on board. We're going to go to this knob that says raise and lower, and I'm going to push it in a little bit, turn it a quarter turn to where it says override. Okay, so this is a little different. This is where our jack handle was before. To lower the lift, you're going to go to this T handle, and you're going to put the jack handle on there. It's got slots in the end of it where it'll fit on the little T. And then you're just going to turn that counterclockwise. Now, and that lowers the lift. So you can see the lift lowering. This is all manual. Okay, now we've got the lift all the way on the ground, and we have the passenger back on board, and we're going to try to get them in the bus. You need to close this valve by turning it clockwise until it's tight, and then you can pull your handle off, and you're going to go back to this pump again, stick your handle back in the pump, and then to raise this is going to stay in the same position, this valve that you'd already opened to lower it. You can stay in that override position, and then you're just going to pump this. And as you pump it, the lift is going to come up. As you can see, it's not easy. It's supposed to be for emergency use only. But you can't get passengers on and off this way. Okay, we have the lift up at floor level, and now we have to lower the barrier so we can allow the wheelchair to go onto the bus. You're going to go to the valve, the manual valve that says barrier, which is the top one on this bus, and you're going to push it in, you're going to turn it that quarter turn until it's pointing at the override again. Now, you're going to take the jack handle from the jack, and you're going to go back to that T valve that you were on earlier, and you're going to open that up. And when you do that, you see that the barrier lowers, and you can run the passenger on into the bus. Okay, we've got our passenger on the bus, manually operating it. We've got our jack handle on the T handle that's got that valve open that lowered the barrier. Now we're going to close that valve back up, turning it clockwise, and then we're going to go to our jack handle and put it in the jack, and we're going to actually jack the pump again, and you can see as you do that the barrier comes up. Okay, and the jack handle will get really hard to press once it's in position where it's in its final position. Okay, we've got our passenger off the bus, and we brought our barrier up, and now we're ready to lower the lift again to the stow position. We're going to go back to that, our switch valve we just opened up is still in override, so we're going to turn it back to normal. And then we're going to go to the raise and lower valve, and we're going to push it on it, turn it quarter turn to override, and that's going to allow us to lower the lift. I'm going to pull the handle out of the jack handle here, and I'm going to go to that T valve, turn it counterclockwise, and I'm going to lower the lift And what you're going to look for here is you're going to look for the bars along the top of this lift to align with each other. I'm just allowing it to go down real slow, and I'm going to line up this so it's level across here, and then we have a proper stow position for our manual operation. Like I said, normally in the normal operation, it'll automatically stop where it wants it to. This is going to be the only time where you're going to have to stop it actually where you want it to be. So you can see that all of these channels are dropping down. I'm going to wait till they're right in line with each other. And then what I'll do is I'll close the valve by turning the rod clockwise. Now, you see where I stopped it? It looks like all of these are level across here. So now you're in a position where you can stow the lift safely without causing any damage to anything. Okay, now you have your jack or your lift in this stow position by lining up these channels. They're straight across here. We're going to have to fold the lift carrier up just like you normally would. Now it's ready to manually stow it. Right now we have our valve open on extend, or no, I'm sorry, on raise and lower. We want to close that by pushing it in and turning it a quarter turn to the right. Now it's back in the normal position. And then we're going to activate our retract valve by pushing it in, turning it a quarter turn to the left, and now it's on override. All the others are on normal. That one's on override. And then we're going to go to our jack handle again, and we're going to jack the lift in. You can see that it is now retracting. And you'll go on with that all the way until you got the jack or the lift all the way in. And typically what happens is the jack handle gets really hard to push when you've got it all the way in. So that'll give you a good indicator when you've got it all the way in. You just want the carrier to be all the way where it's going to clear the doors. So you'll jack until it stops. See? Now my handle's real hard to push, so I know it's all the way in. Okay, so now we've got the lift all retracted. We're going to take our valve that's on override, which you see it says retract. We're done retracting it. We're going to turn it back to normal. So now all these valves are back in normal position, which allows it to use the automatic part with the switches and everything. Then we will hang back our jack handle, and we're going to take care of our cables, hang our controller on the side, put our cables back in, make sure they're not interfering with any of the latches, and you should be good to go. Close the doors, and there you have it.